why the Vigil has lost sight with, the scrying tower of they can't see past this goddamn mountain range now. So, but yes, it's like Sis said, there is sort of like a sandy beach. He can't give you exact, because they were on broken portions of the ship. They couldn't really control where they were going to land on shore. So they had to go where the currents took them, and it took them to the eastern portion of the island of Omen. So,
all right.
So effectively, we can very well map the major formations of the island from the top of the mountain. That's good to know.
I say that in light of that news, we make for the top of this mountain as quickly as possible.
All right.
Okay.
So that's what we do.
Sis will even give you a guide. He'll
Okay.
show you the path up. There's really no equipment needed. It's just strenuous on the body, and it is still mid-morning. You guys have to stop several times. Now, as you get to a point, you come to where the Sahuagin tells you that he will no longer travel with you, and this is the destination. Now, as you climb, you're several thousand feet up. Now you can see that the clouds you're with the clouds now, and this is what the Sahuagin relays to you, Captain. We are one with the clouds now. And you can look down behind you, and you can see off into the distance. You can see the jungle, and you can also see, the plumes of smoke coming up from the south from Gastron's Point, and way off into the mainland. You can see the curvature of the planet, and you can see there's. You can't see any. You could see for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles of water of the Midland Sea, but you can't see the mainland of back the Dragon Empire. So, yes, exactly. So you've come to this point to where there is a sort of like a stone platform, and this stone platform has a wooden and rope bridge. Very nicely made. It's nothing like in Indiana Jones where one step looks like you're just going to fall right through it and plunge to your death. It's off several hundred yards, and then there's another stone platform, and this stone platform comes up from a couple of the peaks of the mountains, and looks like the rope bridge dips down, comes back up at this point, and then the rope bridge extends off, and you can see often 400, 500 yards off, a par 5, a good old par 5, you can see a flat portion, sort of like a plateau, kind of carved into all of the mountaintops, well above the cloud, where the clouds are. And you can see that there is a beautiful, looks like paradise. Beautiful, appears to be beautiful white marble. You see a pyramid. This pyramid has it's sort of like a ziggurat. How it comes up with not like an Egyptian, a later Egyptian pyramid,
like
but
an Aztec
yeah, exact.
deal.
Well, yeah, like the first Egyptian ziggurats. There's like 3 levels. And then the top is flat instead of pointed.
Right.
And you can see a ramp of stairs going up to the top of this temple. And you can see a lot of other marble buildings. I'm talking probably a couple other dozen buildings. And you can see a massive stone wall that goes from one end and encompasses the entire, area of this temple. Starting from, and then behind it there is what appears, and the Sahuagin says there is another path that will take you to the other side of the mountain ridge. And he points off and takes the map that you guys are using and draws it, and you can go around. He says there's two ways you can go through. You can go around to the right, and you can go around to the left, and that's
Was there
what
any
you
kind
can
of
do.
statuary or anything at this temple? Relief carved into the marble or anything?
Not to what you can see. Not to what you can see.
We're not that close to it.
No, yeah, you can't see.
Well, now here's the question. Now that we see it, do we want to go investigate this temple city, or do we want to bypass it and just map the island and wait for word from the Archmage?
Wow,
Well, we can map the island and get that done, and that'll be one thing done under our belts, and then whatever after that. Yeah, I kind of do want to take a look at this temple, and not bust open the sealed door or anything like that, but just examine the outskirt buildings and everything like that. After we map the island, of course.
Yeah, and
We're gonna
that's
take this other alternate path around.
that's what Sis had told you. Basically how they're trapped in is the top of the temple. He tells you that there is an altar that moves, and there is basically there is a. It's not only. Well, it's really not magically. They told you that they figured out how to open it up. Basically, they've barricaded it with a lot of stone and whatnot, and that's how they basically just piled the top of the temple with more rock to where it's not going to move anywhere. But that's how you get inside. It's and they told you that, and I remember even having this conversation with you, but, Sis and they actually were, the Froglok were very, 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 very strong warriors, and they would, and then they also they sung in unison. That's another thing. They sung in unison, as making noises and making the noises that giant frogs make. They sang in unison as they fought, and it was very, very, very distracting to the Sahuagin.
Maybe we could get some sort of flammable liquid or something, Captain, and find some sort of hole and pour it down in there and torch them all, burn them all alive or something.
That's what I suggested in the beginning, was if we can't let them out and they won't agree to come out peacefully, then there's no other option, because they'll break out eventually and overrun the secure location we have here.
Right.
And we just can't allow that to happen, especially with recent news of the Emerald Queen's capture. We've got to protect this place as best as possible.
Okay.
And for all we know, they've already started breaking out.
Yes, old Dirty Cackles has had a run-in with them, and we've seen one underneath the tomb. I don't think they're contained solely to this place at all. Yeah, I think we're just gonna go and see if we can map from the mountaintop. I don't know if that's gonna be sufficient enough.
Sure,
we just want our money.
Yeah, if that's what you guys want to do, that's fine with me. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think there's much left of this path to get to that summit or whatever. Anyways,
Right, so you can go straight. You can go through the temple area. Like I said, it looks like a beautiful marble city. You don't see any action there. And then the guide, he told you that you can basically go left or go right. And then the guide wishes you good luck and leaves.
Scuttles off. All right.
Scuttles off.
I think we should just go around for now.
Yeah, let's do that, fellows.
Okay. All right. So which way are you guys gonna go? Left, right?
We'll just toss the hat, Captain. We'll let the hat determine our fates.
Does my nautical sense of direction give me a sense
Let's
of...
just go to the right.
Not on land,
I'm tired of
Captain.
this nonsense. We're going to the
Not
right.
on land, Captain. You are feeling a little weary though, Captain. You are in bad spirits. You
The
keep
peg leg
thinking
isn't built
about.
for mountain hiking.
Let's go to the right then.
Okay, Captain. So as you're going around, now the thing is with going to the right, you get a very good sense of, what is on the right side of this temple area, because you're basically following a path carved onto the side of the mountain, and as you're probably 200, 300, 400 yards up, and you can see over the wall. The wall's probably 30 feet high that's surrounding the entire temple area, and you can see this temple. Well, you notice something odd. You don't notice nothing on the top. You actually see a very large altar on the top of this temple. Now, around the bottom of the temple, as you're kind of surveying around and looking, you notice that there is a massive ton of debris and rock and earth at the base of this temple.
I see this, I say. Didn't those fellows tell us that they barricaded them in at the top, Captain? What is all this? I didn't see anything at the top but a damned altar.
I thought there was
A
a
white
large
marble
door.
altar. Yes, there is a large door under the altar. Correct. Yes.
Right, I thought that was what they barricaded them in.
Right.
There
Apparently
is.
there's nothing barricading in the door at all.
Well, okay.
Cap, I'm a bit worried about this here. It seems like they've already managed to remove the obstacles from the door, keeping them in.
Well, what are we gonna do? You tell me. What would you like to do?
That's alright. Just be wary. Take a look around us, everybody.
Stormbolt,
Make
thank
sure
you.
We're not surrounded by snakes.
I appreciate you. Thank you for subbing. Thank you for resubbing.
I mean, we can't fight an entire population of Froglocks. I mean, if they've gotten out,
Do I see any snake people rummaging about in the environs?
Yes, you do, actually. They're not snake people, but you do notice that there are several frog type of humanoids that several are walking and several are hopping along. Several they're leaping, basically. They leap,
Dave,
5 to 10 feet.
What I want to know is do we have enough room to maybe maneuver around a small group of these and try and cut them off? I mean, is that a feasible idea?
What you've seen within these ruins, you count around a dozen, and you're looking pretty hard, Vance. You're looking pretty hard, and you see. And they're going between the build. They don't see you as of now.
Okay.
And you're on the side of the mountain, up. Like I said, 300-400
feet. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yards actually. So you're
yards,
farther back because of the yards. But yeah, you can see that they're going in and out of the buildings. You can see that the buildings do not have doors, but they are this beautiful white marble type of finish. And then you see. Eventually you can see the altar move, and you can see several more Froglok come up out of the top of the ziggurat or the top of the temple, and they walk down the stairs down into the other small buildings of the surrounding area.
I suggest we do some reconnaissance here.
Yeah, I think we should capture some of these, Captain. And we'll get some info. Maybe they speak something that you can decipher.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, Dave. I mean, I know these guys are of an ancient race. Would I have?
It's like
any
the Sahuagin told you. They were slithering snake serpent people, but have eventually evolved into having legs.
Right, but would I be able to speak to these things?
Well, if the
Do I know their
Sahuagin could
language?
talk
You
to
want
them,
to you want
you can
to
speak
walk right up
Sahuagin,
to
so-
him and try to speak to him? Or-
No, I mean, I'm trying to figure out if, I mean, I would obviously know if I knew the language or not. I wouldn't just walk up and say random words and hope they understood.
I say we catch one Cap, and we'll find out after that. You know, the least we could do is get him to draw something in the ground in the dirt for us. I mean, we'll get something out of him one way or the other. Old Mordecai here, we'll get him to talk.
You're not too sure, Captain. And you're a man of many languages, but you're just not too sure that you're going to be able to communicate with these. You've never
Okay.
encountered a Froglok before. The first time that you had ever seen a Froglok was when you were looking eye to eye with the one that was down in the bottom of the mausoleum, looking up through the grate at you, and you were looking down through the grate at it.
Well, I don't know that capturing one of these things will do us any good.
Thank you,
because,
Stormgold. I appreciate it.
First off, these are a proud warrior race bent on taking back their island. I don't
Yeah,
feel
they've
like
been
they'll
trapped
tell us-
inside here for 13
right,
ages.
I don't feel like they'll tell us anything, and even if
But
they
if he
do,
won't talk, we'll just slit his damn throat, and that'll be one less of them, Captain.
well, I don't know. I'm more inclined to say that we should map out the temple as far as we can see, do a head count of as many as we know are out there, and continue on, and continue mapping the island, and address this later, because I feel like we're in no way here able to tackle this problem ourselves. I just don't see it. Whether we run in there gung-ho or try tactics or do, guerrilla warfare, capturing any way that we look at it, I just don't think that the the 6 of us are going to be able to take these on. I mean, I have extensive military training, and
But I also feel, Captain, that we see them. Maybe they have scouts out there looking at us right now that we don't know about. Maybe they're setting up ambuscades for us as we speak.
well, if that's the case, then the less hostile we appear, I feel like the better.
Less hostile to a proud warrior race, they'll take us for weaklings and murder us outright.
I think they'll do that either way.
It's best to gain the initiative then, when you think, man. Well, I mean, I'm all for going on and doing our little mapping party, but I have a hunch they're on to us already. I mean,
That might be true, but I can't consciously engage an entire population of people with a party of 6 moderately skilled warriors. I mean, I just don't think there's any way.
Who you call moderately skilled?
Well,
I knew one of you were going to say that. I figured Agnes was going to get in there first and say that.
I just think that we might either need to wait from help from the Archmage or from anyone else, because I just don't think we can do this on our own.
Don't you
I
think we're
don't
doing
see-
enough waiting just standing here talking?
exactly. Well, let's press on then and do
Okay.
a little mapping while they surround us.
I just really don't see any positive. I don't see any way that this goes down how we want it. I don't see
Right.
us walking in there and slaughtering the whole population, or walking in there and not being killed.
Right.
So I feel like not walking in there is our best interest right now.
All right, so I guess we're gonna continue. I guess it's decided we're gonna continue on past, being as sneaky as we can, not to attract their attention.
Okay, now, Mordecai, now, stealth, you're wanting to use the rocks to your advantage, basically, because
Yes.
it is bright light outside. You are up on the side of a mountain. Granted, yes, you are 400 yards up. So, you would like to make a stealth check. I see you've made your stealth check. So,
Yes.
Killian has already gone into... he's already gone into defensive mode, because you guys can see Mordecai. He's kind of ducking and dodging and weaving
Yeah,
between
I
all
have
of these
too.
rocks. As looks like he's starting to scout ahead of the party a little bit. And what else is everyone doing? Agnes, what about you? You've been so quiet tonight, Agnes. Except for when you're busting everybody's balls about, looting and stuff.
Let the talkers talk.
No.
I pull out my spyglass and
Very nice, Captain.
set up sort of a pull out some parchment and some and my quill and just write down observations. I mean, I've been a military man in some aspect, whether as a pirate or an archmage, servant of the archmage for 30 years now. I know how to scout out a position. I know how to write down assets and all that stuff. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to get an idea of defensive postures, of numbers, of the city layout, of everything using my spyglass and writing it down.
I will give you some information. Now, and this goes for everyone. So I would guess everyone is kind of looking around, if I'm not mistaken, right? Everybody is trying to survey the area and work together as one, right? You're probably going around the entire complex, I would imagine, right? I'm not going to guess all of this for you, but what else? What else are you looking for?
I'm staying as far away as possible.
I'm looking specifically focused on watching the numbers of these froglocks that are coming out. That's my specific focus, is that I'm trying to count how many individual froglocks that I see.
Anywhere between a dozen and 2 dozen. But you can tell that they're coming and going from the top of the temple.
What can I tell about their armament, their arms, weapons, and armament and stuff?
It's a good question. I'll let you know in just a second.
I am searching for
supposedly thousands of them down there.
Right. I'm searching for the proverbial drainage ditch in Helm's Deep of this encampment. I'm looking for a weakness or something that a tactical operation could exploit here, because they've clearly got the numbers on us.
This is one thing that you know, Captain. This is a very fortified position. This is this is entirely walled in from front to back. Now, however, there is an entrance to the front, and this is looking at it facing north. There is one entrance, large entrance at the front. This is where the rope bridge that I was talking to you about. This is where the rope bridge leads to the front entrance. Several waterfalls around the base of the walls. There are inner walls inside, and from everybody scouting around, there is an inner gate. There are about a little over 1 dozen small marble buildings inside the courtyard area. You can see that there are several fountains, and the fountains are putting out a water. You can see that there is almost a dozen raised platforms, and there is something on each one of these platforms, but you're not able to determine what it is. But with your spyglass, Captain Tom, it appears to be the statue of a frog sitting.
A faker pose.
At the rear, there are 3 entrances. On the very northern part, there is a sort of like, as the clouds emerge, there is a sort of like a brush line or a wood line at the very back. There are 3 stair entrances. Probably they ascend up about 20 to 30 feet.
Well, I'm taking very careful notes of all of this information, and I'm basically going to report it back to the Master Sergeant or the Archmage or whatever agent he hopefully sends to Gastron's Point eventually. Because even though, I don't feel like there's any. Normally, I would try to do some diplomacy with these guys and try to reason with them. But if I can't even speak to them, I don't see that going very well. So I feel like the only option we have here is to defend our position and take these guys out.
Now
As much as I don't want to do that, honestly, I don't think it's really avoidable.
Some of these froglocks are carrying staves. Some of them are carrying shields. Some of them look like they appear to have no weapons at all.
What is it, Mordecai?
Captain, how big of an explosion do you think it would take to take down the whole side of this mountain?
The side of this mountain?
Yes.
A bigger one than we've got materials here to create. I can assure you that. I don't know. I'm not a demolitions expert.
I know that, but do you think if we could get enough stuff that we could just skip this whole thing and just blow the side of the mountain?
What would be the purpose of that?
Kill them all.
You're talking about blowing up the mountain that they're on?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Well,
this is where they're at. It is a carved out plateau that is several mountains conjoining with one another. Very large area.
I don't know. I just don't think that...
Hundreds of feet across.
Sure, if we had access to materials from the mainland, eventually we could blow the mountain up.
I mean, surely the setup for all that would alert them far ahead of time.
I feel like having hundreds of people stacking barrels of gunpowder
and
around
drilling
the
holes and sliding dynamite sticks into the ground.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it would maybe
I feel
draw
like that
their
might
attention.
tip them off. I don't know how intelligent they are, but
Yes.
they might think something was up.
It might tip them off. I like that, Captain.
So
Well,
for
Captain,
now at least,
do you
I'd put
think,
that plan on the back burner and focus on something else.
do you think that we could possibly get enough to make a big enough explosion that it might make the land kraken come and just swallow all of them?
See, I don't know if that would attract the earth kraken any more than
we don't
me
know.
jumping
We don't
around.
know what attracts the earth kraken.
Sure,
Maybe we'll relocate the Sahuagin village remaining here, and they seem to like to eat. It seems like Sahuagins. Maybe it'll go after them then.
I
Now
don't
remember,
know.
Captain Tom, these Sahuagin had primitive, conversations with these Froglok. Remember, I did tell you.
So
They
if I
were
could-
able to. You could possibly
I could
speak
probably
Sahuagin to them.
and
and
they
have
would
a
understand
broken-
a little bit of it.
Yeah, you could
Okay.
get
Oh, you mean what I mentioned
probably
like 5
just
minutes ago?
yeah.
I wanted
yeah.
to catch one of them and let's talk to them.
Well, I've just remembered spontaneously another option. I could walk down that bridge straight towards the city and speak to them in Sahuagin and hope they don't kill me. Now, my plan would be essentially this. I would have you waiting on the other side of the bridge, and if it goes south, I'll just run. And then you cut the bridge, and they can't get to us, at least for the time being. But I feel somewhat obligated, as an admiral and as an agent of the Archmage, to at least attempt some sort of negotiation before the genocide of a population of an unknown race.
Okay. So you just want to
Okay.
stroll right up in there then, Captain?
Well, do you want us to go back across the bridge in that case?
Well, I don't think we've... Right, we'd go back to the beginning, but I would cross the bridge, and you would stay on the other side, waiting for me, and then if I came running, screaming at you, you'd cut the ropes on the bridge, after I arrived at the other side. But hopefully, ideally, I'd walk over there and then find that Frogloks love people who can speak Sahuagin, and they would be my friends,
Well-
and then we would